also recording the most important parts of our class. This screen, the slides, and a few explanations for the quiz, and you can check on our YouTube channel. Okay, so this is the quiz from yesterday, and let's work on the topic of today's class. And good news, we are finishing chapter 3. This is the last topic. Today is going to be the last topic about chapter 3. Tomorrow we will work on an overall review of chapter 3 with a quiz that is going to be the base, or very similar to the test. On Friday we will have the test for chapter 3. Okay, so this is it. Chapter 3 will conclude today. Tomorrow the overall review, and after tomorrow tests. In the last couple of days, and 3-4 days, we've been working on graphing linear inequalities, and we used this procedure here every day to solve and graph linear inequalities. The step number 1 is solve for y. Step number 2, graph the related equation, and step number 3, you will shade above the line or below, depending on the inequality. If the y is greater than something, you shade above the line. If y is less than something, you shade below the line. So this is the procedure that I've been repeating, we have been using for the last 3 or 4 days to graph linear inequalities, right? This is to remember the procedure, and that's the topic of today's class. And Kalia, you're complaining about the quiz, and I totally agree, understand, but not that I agree. I was having the same reaction yesterday as you're having today. I read this introduction and start to read and try to understand based on this introduction here, and I was very confused. I thought this was going to be very difficult. I was almost giving up of teaching this. I think, no, maybe I can teach something different, something simpler, because this is too complicated. Then I checked this example. And after I worked on an example, I thought, this is not as hard as I thought. Have a little things that made us scared are the fancy words. And we have the words here feasible, we have the words constraints, that are kind of fancy words that made us scared about this topic. What is feasible? Think about a similar word for feasible. Feasible is possible. The region where the thing that we're proposing here is possible. And the constraint, another word for constraint. Yeah, I understand, Talia. Yeah, I'm a math teacher. I'm not the right person to say something is easy or difficult, but I'm gonna check after we work on the quiz. I'm gonna ask you again if this is hard or not. I'm gonna ask you, and you're gonna tell me if it's difficult or not. Okay? I'm pretty sure you're gonna agree with me. It's not too hard. Think about a word for constraint, a synonym for constraint, another word for constraint. And constraint is limitations, the restrictions, the boundaries. Okay? Let's apply this to this example. Graphing a feasible region. Okay? And the example is something that is related to you. Look at that. It's a situation that you might face. Susan has 2 tests on Friday. One is chemistry, another one is psychology. Susan estimates that she has a maximum of 12 hours to study before the test. She must divide her time between chemistry and psychology. Let's say X represents the time she studies chemistry, so X is going to be chemistry, and Y is the time, the hours Susan spends studying psychology. So X and Y, right? X and Y. Find a set of inequalities to describe the constraints. Look the fancy word here again, constraints on Susan's study time. Again, constraint is limitation, the restrictions, the boundaries. And the main limitation that Susan has, that you have, that I have, the main limitation is time. We have limited time, right? We have lots of things to study, lots of things to do, and we have very little time. And that's the main limitation that Susan has. Susan has a maximum amount of 12 hours to study both subjects. So writing down here the limitation that she has, the first constraint is going to be the number of hours she studies chemistry plus the number of hours she studies psychology is less or equal than 12. 12 is the maximum number. The maximum amount is 12. There are two other constraints that you're never gonna guess. You're never gonna guess. So obvious, so clear, so you're gonna say, you don't need this. You don't need to say something like this. It's so obvious. This is silly, but you're never gonna guess. Try to guess the two other constraints. We have too many constraints, two other constraints. Try to guess, try to imagine, and think. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna say, no, you're silly. You're not being serious. You're talking about this is a constraint. I'm gonna say yes, it is a constraint. The time you study for a subject cannot be negative. You cannot say, I'm gonna study negative 2 hours of chemistry. I'm gonna study negative 5 hours of psychology. Susan cannot say that. You cannot say that. So this is a constraint. It's so obvious that you're never gonna guess. So the number of the time, the hours, cannot be negative. It needs to be greater or equal than 0. Another constraint, the number of hours of psychology cannot be cannot be negative. Cannot be, needs to be greater or equal than 0. Those are the three constraints. The three constraints that Susan has, and we will draw a graph which is the feasible region based on these three constraints, okay? I know, it's silly. This, of course, you cannot have negative time. You cannot have negative time for anything. You don't have a time machine, right? Not yet. The first one, to draw the constraint, to represent the constraint in the graph, we need the related equation. The related equation here is x plus y equals 12. Yeah, I wish to have a time machine as well. It would be so useful. The next related equation, x equals 0. The next related equation, y equals 0. And we will draw now the lines. The first line here is x plus y equals 12. If x equals 0, y equals 12, so this is 1 point. If y equals 0, x equals 12. This is the other point. So the line is this. So this is the line, x plus y equals 12. And Jacob is asking here, you would put 6 in chemistry? Yes, you can do this, but we're talking about all the options. This is only one option, okay, Jacob? 6 and 6 is 12, just one option. But let's say chemistry, she's not as good in chemistry as she is good in psychology. She might even study 12 hours of chemistry and 0 hours psychology, if she thinks she needs, right? So feasible region is all the options. All the options are going to be here. Thank you, Jacob. Very good comment. Very, very good comment. X equals 0, the other constraint. So x equals 0 is a vertical line here. This is the line x equals 0. x equals 0. And the other line that we will have is a special line. Combination 4 and 4, yes, is inside the physical region. And the combination 8 hours of chemistry and 8 hours of psychology, no, this is outside the physical region. This is not good, not possible. That's it. The combination that you suggested, Jacob, yes, 6 and 6, yes, is inside the feasible region, is right here in the limit, 6 and 6, but is inside, is on the line of the feasible region, yes. She can decide 12 hours of chemistry and 0 of psychology, yes. Everything, every option is represented here by this triangle, which is called the feasible region, the possible region, the region where she can possibly find a solution for her problem. Question. Anything that you didn't understand, that any step that you didn't get, that you don't agree, or anything that I wrote, that I drew, that you didn't understand, tell me now. Anything specific. Don't tell me that you don't understand the whole thing. No, I don't. I'm still confused about the whole thing. Don't worry. We're going to work on the quiz. We will work on more examples. If you didn't understand the whole thing, it's because maybe you're still not confident yet. I'm not sure. Yes, Kalia, don't worry. We will work together on the quiz on more examples. It's because you're still not confident, and we will see different situations, and I'm pretty sure you're going to understand after you try on several examples. If there's anything specific, let me know. If not, let's move to the quiz. Let's work on the quiz so we can have time to work together. But any questions, any comments, any complaints? No? If not, let's move on and work on the quiz. But before, as usual, I want your answer for this nice, cute, pretty bell work of today. This pink, full of puppies. Frank has 3 daughters. Each daughter has 2 brothers. And each brother has 1 puppy. Each puppy has 4 paws. How many paws are there in Frank's house? Type your answers now. And this looks like a very simple multiplication problem, right? Because you have 3 daughters. 3 daughters. Each daughter has 2 brothers, so times 2 brothers. And each brother has 1 puppy. 1 puppy, okay. And each puppy has 4 paws. 4 paws, and then you multiply. 3 times 2, 6. 6 times 1, 6. 6 times 4, 24. And then you find 24. This looks simple and straightforward. 24. But there's a catch. There's a teeny tiny catch here. You see, you have 3 daughters. Let's draw here the daughters. And we have 1 daughter, 2 daughters, 3 daughters. The daughters, they have 2 brothers. 2 brothers. 1 brother, 2 brothers. But it's not that each daughter have 2 different brothers. Each daughter have 2 brothers. See? The brothers, they're the same boys. Can you see this? Can you understand this? Each daughter have 2 brothers, but they're the same boys. They're the same 2 boys. So the total number of boys, the total number of brothers is only 2. And here we was asking, it says how many paws? Yes. We're talking about the puppies. Wait a minute. You have to calculate how many boys, how many brothers there are. How many brothers there are? 2 brothers. So we have only 2 boys. 2 times 1, 2. 1 puppy each boy. Times 4. The answer is going to be 8. 8 paws. 8 paws. It's just the puppies, yes. It is just the puppies, Jacob. Just the puppies, puppy paws. Kalia got it right, yeah. But the catch here is when you talk about three daughters, each daughter have two brothers, you think about 6 brothers. But we don't have 6 brothers in this family. We only have 2 brothers. Each daughter had the same 2 brothers. Oh, yeah. You will. The right answer is going to be 8. Maddie got it right. 8. Yeah, the right answer is 8. I think, yeah. Did you change your mind? You said 8 at the beginning, and then you changed your mind, Maddie, to 24. I will consider your first answer, 8. And I think Maddie is the first one to say 8. Yeah. I'm going to consider first answer, Maddie. You're the winner. You and Kalia. And Noelia. You 3 are the winners. The first one to say 8. And Chris DL also, the same time. Chris DL, 8. Noelia, Kalia, and Maddie, 8. No, yeah. Usually the right answer on the test is the first one. When you go, this is statistical. When you answer the first time and then you change your answer, sometimes most of the time you change and choose the wrong answer because you fall for the trap. Yes. A few, but they are split between 24 and 8. The puppies. Look at this first problem. It's all about pets and puppies. A local pet rescue group has a total of 30 cages that can be used to hold cats and dogs. Let X represent the number of cages used for cats, and let Y represent the number of cages used for dogs. Only one cat or one dog for each cage. Letter A, write an inequality to express that the number of cats cannot be negative. So let's write down here letter A. The answer for letter A is going to be X is the number of cats, right? X is the number of cats. X needs to be greater or equal than 0. That means it cannot be negative. This is the answer for letter A. Letter B. Write an inequality to express that the number of dogs cannot be negative. Number of dogs is Y. So Y cannot be negative. Y needs to be greater or equal than 0. This is the second constraint, the second inequality. Letter C. Write an inequality to describe the constraint on the total number of cages for cats and dogs. So the total number of cats and dogs that we can put on cages will be X plus Y is less or equal than 30, because 30 is the maximum amount, the maximum number of cages that we have, 30, right? So this is the answer for letter C. On letter D, the question is the point 14, x equals 14 and y equals 12 in the feasible region? Let's check here. X equals 14 is right here. X equals 12 is somewhere here. So the answer is, the point is this. The answer is yes. D, yes, is inside the feasible region. And you can check, another way of checking, you can add x plus y, 14 plus 12 is 26, and check if 26 is less or equal than 30. Yes, 26 is less or equal than 30. So answer for letter D is yes. This is how you solve the quiz today. Very simple, okay? Focus on the numbers. Follow this procedure here, this step by step. You're going to find all the answers.